Hi everyone and welcome to Fresh from My Garden. Previously, I have shared a few spice and herbs that I have been growing in containers, and these are the bigger containers in which I am growing bay leaf tree, and this is a jackfruit tree. And we recently purchased this baraba from the nursery. So, in between all of this, I am growing in a small container the lemon balm that has been grown from seed, and this has grown successfully for the first time in our garden, and I had shared a couple of videos on my Instagram also. In this video, I'll share a few tips how to grow and care for this beautiful herb. Lemon balm is a herb that belongs to the mint family, and when you look at the leaves, you can see that they resemble mint leaves. And these are growing in this small container, which is around 6 to 8 inches deep, and it's a cement pot in which I have planted and grown these from seed. This is growing in the west side of our garden, but it is protected from the evening sun due to bigger plants that I have surrounding this container. So, as I had shown in the beginning of the video, I have a couple of fruit trees and spice plants that are growing in bigger containers around this plant. So, it keeps the evening sun from directly affecting this plant. It grows in partial filtered sunlight, which is the best growing light condition for this plant. When growing mint, I have noticed that they grow well in spots with filtered sunlight as opposed to spots in direct sunlight. When grown in direct sunlight, these leaves tend to get scorched and burnt by the direct sun, and also the leaves tend to get a little more thicker and tougher. The leaves of the lemon balm also have a fragrance and are very soft and tender to the touch, just like mint leaves. And they can be used just like mint leaves in cooking, and is also used mostly to make herbal tea. It has a lot of anti anxiety and calming properties, and this is why it is used in tea. So here are the seeds from which I grew lemon balm. So I've just left it in the container so that I can know what kind of plant it was since I was growing it for the first time. And once it is grown, it can also be easily propagated through stem cuttings. This plant, as you can see, just like the mint, it trails over the edges of the container since it has very tender looking stems and it has very fresh and tender looking leaves. Because it has a very citrusy kind of flavor and aroma, it can be used as a pest repellent for a lot of skin infections and also as a pest repellent in the garden so that your other plants can be protected from different varieties of pests. This citrusy, lemony fragrance and taste adds a lot of flavor not just to calming teas but also to salads and soups and can be used as a garnish just like we would use a lot of other herbs. So these are the other fruit trees that I have growing in bigger containers, and this lemon balm grows in a more protected and partially shaded spot in the middle of these two bigger containers. So it just receives filtered sunlight and it doesn't receive too much of direct sunlight. They might do well in a little bit of direct sunlight during the morning time, but during the afternoons, it is better to keep it protected from harsh direct sunlight and extreme heat. These plants prefer a little bit more moisture since the stems are really tender. So you can keep them in a spot where it has a more moist atmosphere rather than an extreme heat or dry atmosphere. They are grown from really tiny seeds, which I have just sprinkled over the soil, and I have prepared this soil or potting mix at home in my garden, and it is a very porous mixture which will help these seeds grow well and develop its roots well. So as you can see, the mixture is really porous, and I have made it with a combination of red soil, some cocoa peat, and vermicompost. I also usually add some trichoderma mostly to all my potting mixes so that it prevents any fungal attack on the seeds before they start to germinate. Most herbs are very tender and they require regular watering so that the soil remains moist but not completely wet. Also, having multiple plants together crowded in the same container helps to keep the soil from drying out and helps these plants maintain the moisture that it requires to thrive well. So, this is another wonderful, very aromatic, and very useful herb that I am growing in my garden. And as you can see, it can be easily grown in small containers. Hope you liked today's video. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and watch all our gardening videos. Thanks for watching Fresh from my garden.